Melee, how you doing? Bobby Dirkens here. Sorry, my voice is not as joyful and as loud as it normally is, but I'm sorry. I'm sick and I can't get over this. I don't know what it is, but I'm here doing my thing, and I am going to preview the 2018 installment of the Clemson Tigers, #2 Clemson Tigers, playing the unranked Florida State Seminoles at Doak Campbell Stadium. Everybody saying, may there to me, may there to you, may there Clemson J1, may there 6 o'clock Glock, may there Cody Clark. We'll keep it going. I'll keep calling it until I auctioneer this entire thing off. Will FSU be able to reach their own line of scrimmage? I'm probably drunk. I'll get to that in a second. Well, thank all of you for joining me. If you hadn't hit the subscribe button, do that for me now. It's going to be really, really, really good. Go ahead and hit that. Hey, Will Jones. Good to see you. May there to you. Tell you right now, last time I was this happy was when I found out that my grandma and Papa hadn't made out in 35 years. Papa was pretty upset about it, but I was okay with it. Let's talk about this game. Over the past 15 years, Clemson has won 9 of the last meetings with Florida State. May there, George. Good to see you. Believe it or not, Clemson has won 9 out of the past 6 meetings against Florida State. I didn't know that until I looked at one of their publications. It wasn't coming from me, it was coming from them. And on top of that, Clemson's won the last 3 in a row. Volunteer Roadshow's in the house. May there to you, Volunteer Roadshow. Good to see you, Catfish. Lord be with you. And I can't wait to drive your new truck. But, with that said, Clemson is the most dominant team in the ACC, which between you and I doesn't take that much these days. I mean, the ACC is at its worst, and it is what it is. I accept it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the ACC should be rendered great, and it's, you know what it is. You know what it is. I mean, they suck. They're horrible. I know third grade football teams that come out and beat a lot of the teams in the ACC. So I'm just saying that. But definitely Clemson's ranked #2 at this point. I believe unless they blow it, they're going to continue to stay there. Clemson is the only team who can beat Clemson on a regular schedule until they end up going to the college football playoff, and then it gets competitive. Everybody, Volunteer Roadshow is talking about his new truck he's got. I'm glad he's got it. May there, Tiger Nate. Good to see you. May there. I'm good. How you doing? Been good? Cuss only 2 times today? It's good to see y'all. Chris Stevens, May there. Good to see you. He's going to the game. He's rubbing it in our face. Well, good for you. I'm happy you're getting to do that. Well, okay, so let's talk about the stats. Let's talk about some stats right now. Florida State and Clemson. Clemson comes into the game absolutely undefeated. They are what they are. Florida State comes in 4-3. They've struggled this season. We'll go over a few of the games they've had. They just recently beat Wake Forest 38-17. They lost to Miami 28-27. They beat Louisville. They beat Northern Illinois. They did lose really bad to Syracuse. I mean, embarrassed. Bobby Bowden even faked dementia to act like he didn't even know what was going on because he didn't want to admit it. But anyway, the truth is they're 4-3. They're doing a little better than what I thought so far this season. I thought maybe they'd drop that Louisville game, but who knew Louisville would suck as bad as they do too. So, let's talk some stats. We know who's starting quarterback for Clemson. We know who's starting quarterback for them. Both teams comes in. They know what they're going to do. Clemson is a 17-point favorite, by the way, at Doak Campbell. Never thought I'd live to see the day that would happen, but then when one team really gets good and the other team begins to suck, that's just going to happen no matter what your jersey say you are. So, Trevor Lawrence comes to the game 95 of 139 yards, 1,176 passing yards, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. DeAndre Francois comes into the season, comes into this game 154, 245. He's passed for 1,859 yards, 13 touchdowns, but he has thrown the ball to the other team 6 times. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, to me, the story of this game, I can go on and talk about Cam Akers and ETN. I will in just a second. But here's the story of the game to me. The horrible offensive line of Florida State versus the world-class, one of the greatest to ever play the game, Clemson Tigers. Forget I'm wearing this. If you're watching this, you're a Florida State fan. If you are thinking intelligently and not logically, and you're not going to give me all that bunch of stuff, what y'all did in the 80s and the 90s, early 2000s, and 2013, and you're talking about this game, you'll have to say, y'all, really what's hurt y'all, and I feel bad for Francois. I really do. That guy has been sacked so many times, it's not funny. He's been smacked around by a rag doll. 3 consecutive seasons of horrible offensive line play. Horrible. And you just happen to play one of the best defensive lines to ever touch college football field. Good luck on that one. If I'm Francois, I get the bellyache. And I don't need none of y'all to go, well, he's a true competitor. Yeah, you remember last year when Alabama turned his knee into hamburger meat? I do. And you thought that Alabama line was good? You should see our line this year. It's outrageous. Hey, Michael Brown, may that to you. ETN comes into the game, 98 carries, 800 yards, even 14 touchdowns. Cam Akers comes in, 101 carries, 460 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Wide receivers, think about Higgins on Clemson, 26 for 426 yards, 4 touchdowns. Of course, we got Justin Ross, the crazy freshman who already has 4 touchdowns, a solid amount of yardage off of just not too many receptions, but every reception he's made has been outrageous. And then, of course, Murray for Florida State, 35 receptions, 487 yards, 3 touchdowns. Let's just go ahead and break this down and be done with it. Clemson's averaging 42 points per game. Florida State's only averaging 25 points per game. Points allowed per game, Clemson's only allowing 13.5. Florida State's allowing 24. What does this mean? Well, if you look at it, you see how Florida State's where they're at. They're allowing only a point difference between them winning and them losing. Clemson, on the other hand, is averaging 42 points per game and only giving up 13.5. Anybody who has enough juice in your brain to do the math, Clemson wins a lot more than Florida State, period. So what's the keys to this particular ball game? And let's just go ahead and break it down. It's kind of like when I ask my son, why do you keep digging in your pants? And he looks at me and he says, Dad, 'cause I'm itching. And I said, well, son, probably if you wouldn't scratch so much, you wouldn't wear yourself raw, then you wouldn't have to itch. He says him scratching himself gives him something to do. I can't get it through his head. Well, here we go. Let's talk about the keys to the game. First and foremost, if you're a Clemson fan, just establish the run or the pass. Whichever one is working for this game, establish it. Go ahead and start off with the run, but don't stop throwing the ball down the field. I want to tell Elliott and Scott, y'all's play calling, the very first drive of last week's game against NC State was the best offensive play calling I've seen all season. The best. Very, very best. I haven't seen y'all call plays like that. My son's about to come in here. I'm about to lock a door. Y'all hold on. I don't care if it's live stream or not. He'll come in here and won't be able to tell y'all nothing. Lord. Here's the deal. We come in, we establish a run. We do our thing. We come in, we throw the ball. Continue to throw it long. Y'all kept throwing it long, and guess what happened? Big things happen. Keep throwing the ball long. Don't change a thing, offensive coordinators. Great job. I've been kind of hard on you recently, so I'm going to praise you when you do something good. Continue to throw it. Protect Lawrence. Keep him safe. I believe we will, but I'm just saying. Don't be afraid, as I said, to keep going long. For Clemson's defensive side of the ball, and if you're Florida State, what's great for Clemson is absolutely horrible for you. May there, TJ Lee. Florida State is not going to be able to protect DeAndre Francois against Clemson's line. Clemson's linebackers. Heck, even their backfield, I mean, their secondary is even looking good. And it's not because I've had too many to drink. I mean, it just is what it is. Hey, Ashton Owens, I know, buddy. I know if this was 1995, we'd be talking business. Or 2013, it would be a good game. But y'all ain't the same people y'all were. And trust me, I've lived through it. I remember my Tigers were 3-8 in 1998. Though it sounds cool to say it like that, it was completely miserable being a fan. And my point is, Francois, Cam Akers, they're good players, so they're going to get a play here or there. Don't be surprised by that. But what I am going to say, listen to me, is this line is going to dominate Florida State. The secondary is a lot better than what people think. A lot of people sees our secondary as so weak. The reason why is because the front seven is so strong that even a good secondary kind of looks bad. I know that sounds stupid until you play us. The point, Clemson is going to come in and strong-arm this game. I believe Florida State's probably going to come out and try to play really hard off the beginning. Wouldn't be surprised if they put up a little run over the first couple of drives. But overall, Clemson's depth, experience, all I got to say is the truth is, we're going to beat them. The only thing I'll hand FSU is FSU is not doing like NC State did. NC State talked so much crap last year that if they stopped for the next 2 or 3 years talking trash, they still made up for it up to this point. They're like the pesky little kid who was raised in a rich community, and his mom and daddy told him he was great, though aside from their money, he was nothing but a poor sack of skin holding down a Social Security card. He was just a waste of good numbers you could use on somebody else. I don't know, somebody picking their tail crack and getting dookie out. But anyway, running around, running their mouth, and you always wanted to punch them in the face. And sometimes you waited out, and it was still worth punching them in the face. The point is, NC State did that. Florida State, on the other hand, they've been much nicer. Now, I know they've said they ain't afraid of our defensive line, and that's what everybody says when they're trying to muster up enough courage to say, I think I can, I think I can, and then one of our guys knocks the living color off their helmet. Also, I did find out that they're going to go with their traditional jerseys, which means those tacky Division III jerseys they've been wearing all season, that makes them look like they've lost all money and all hope of even caring about a football team, that they're actually not going to wear those pieces of trash. They're going to wear their normal-looking jerseys that looks good and that reminds us of when they were decent. Clemson's going to win this football game 35-10. Mel and Matt, good to see you. Tim Lee's here. Get Tarzan. Man, how you doing? Me and Tim used to date a couple of girls up in the mountains together. So one girl, they were twins. They were twins. But you can always tell, they try to, what they do is they'd get over there and they try to switch out. One would date me for a week, and the other one would date Tim for a week. But I could always tell which one was the other because one of them always ate a lot of garlic. Also, she had an abscessed tooth, so when you kissed her, you could taste it. Anyway, good to see you, Tim. I think Clemson wins this game 35-10. I think it's going to be a decent game up to that point, and then Clemson's just going to stomp them in. Clemson could drop more points on them, but I'm just not going to go crazy because Clemson scored a lot of points over the past couple of weeks. Well, everybody, I got to go. I got to get back here. Y'all know I've been euthanizing cats all day. It is what it is. Y'all be good. Take care of yourself. Hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Dirkens, BDIRKENS. Yes, I can spell my names, you morons. And then at the Bobby Dirkens on Instagram. Lord, I don't even know where I'm at. Hit subscribe button. That's all that matters. Y'all remember, you keep showing up. Lord knows I'll keep showing out. Bobby Dirkens.